At the top of study guide 4. At the top of study guide 4, we're not doing substitution this time. What are we doing?
Elimination.
Elimination. Elimination means that we're going to get something to vanish, but not everything. We need opposites. That's your first step. Right next to the problem, you have a little bit of space. Write down 1, multiply to get opposites. These methods will be used over and over again. That's why we're only looking at 2 problems. The steps are going to be the same no matter what. You can choose whether you want to eliminate the x or the y. It's up to you. But we need opposites. We need one to be positive, one to be negative. Are 3 and 2 opposites? How about 4 and -5?
Yeah, because it's a negative sign.
But are they exact opposites?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Mariah said that one was positive, one was negative. So how about if we focus on that? Put a little circle around that. They're almost opposites. Do you remember doing least common multiple back in middle school? What's the least common multiple of 4 and 5?
20.
20. Down here. We are going to aim at the least common multiple. If you can't think of the least common multiple, just multiply them together, and that'll give you a number that you can use. This is what we want. Are those 2 opposites?
Yes.
So now, what do we have to do to get to that?
Add.
Eliminate. Multiply.
So, put parentheses around each equation. What would you multiply the first equation to get from a 4y to a 20?
5.
Put a big 5 over there. We're going to do whatever it takes to multiply to get opposites. But everything has to be multiplied. My other class is multiplying the first 2 and then they're forgetting about the third one. Everything. What's 5 times 3x? What is 5 times -30?
5 times -30 equals 100.
Same thing for the next one. What would you multiply -5 by to get -20?
Negative. Oh no, just 4.
Just 4. But since I'm multiplying the middle, I got to multiply everything. Otherwise, I don't keep the balance. 4 times 2x.
8x.
8.
4 times 72 is 288. Why are we doing this? We're doing this so that we get some opposites. Off to the right. Write down step number 2.
What you add?
We add the new equation. So over here, I'm going to put a giant plus sign. What is 15x plus 8x?
8x. 23x.
What happened when you add 20y and -21?
0.
0.
That is why we call this elimination. You are eliminating one variable from the whole process. That's why it's called that. That is the elimination. So if I ask you on a test, do the elimination steps, you know at some point something's going to go away. But you can't get to that unless you multiply first. That goes away. If I add this, I get positive 138. How do I get to x? Divide by 23. If you did that, how much credit would you get?
Half of.
Because what's still left?
Find the y.
We found the x, we didn't find the y yet. You go back to any of the first two equations. I'm going to go back to 3x plus 4y equals negative 30. Don't make sure that you go back to this set of equations and not this set. That's number 3. I'm going to substitute to find the other variable. And we'll put that right underneath there.
Yeah, I would like. I would.
I will.
30.
What does this mean? This means that the lines
Coordinates.
are not parallel. It means that if you graph the two lines, they would be crossing, and they would cross at 6, negative 12. This is the x, this is the y that you just found.
I don't.
Next class, we're going to focus on maybe just one question. We're going to do every method to the same set of equations. You'll see how they're all interconnected. Problem number 12. Now, you don't have to rewrite. As soon as I start talking, you gotta be listening. You don't have to rewrite this because you just wrote down the 3 steps. I'm going to do it so you can see it up here. Multiply to get opposites. How many times did we multiply in the previous problem to get opposites? Twice. You don't necessarily have to multiply all of the equations. You can do one, or it might already be opposites when you look at it. Which one should I focus on? The x's or the y's? Circle this.
I was right.
Circle that. I could focus on the x's if I wanted to. I'd still get the same answer. It would just be a longer problem. How am I going to get this?
5, 5, 5.
Hold on. All I want are opposites. I choose the smallest numbers I want. The least common multiple of negative 5y is just 5y. So I need this but I've got this. How do I make this look like that?
Oh, that's this. Like,
I can't hear because I got a lot of people talking at once. Gentlemen, this is why other classrooms won't pair people together in groups. Because for some reason people think that that's playtime. I'm doing this so that people can work with each other. And in the future, what I'd like to do is have some quizzes where you're all working together in a group. And the max score in that group is the score that you get. But I can't do that if people are just going to goof around when I pair them up. This is for your benefit eventually, but I can't do it unless I have people paying attention. You know that when we get to the workbook work and we're working together, you guys can talk all you want. But during the lesson, you got to be listening to what I'm doing. Is this 5y, negative 5y, any different than that?
No.
So I don't have to do anything to that first equation. Just rewrite it. I don't have to do any multiplication there. But is negative 5y the same exact thing as this? How do I get from that to that? Multiply by a negative 1. All we're doing is reversing the sign, but now you got to make sure that you do the multiplication with everything in that equation. So what will I end up with for my second equation?
Negative 2x plus 5y equals 30.
Do I have the opposites that I wanted? Yeah. I could have done it with the 3 and the 2, but that would have involved 2 multiplications. So you can either go after the x's or the y's. You take the easiest path to your answer. What do I do? What's the second step, Josh? What's the second step?
Negative 2x plus 5y equals 30. Why is that 30 positive and not negative?
Because we multiplied everything times the negative 1.
Oh,
Add your new equations. Put a big plus symbol over here. What's 2x plus negative 3x plus negative 2x?
negative 1x.
No, just positive.
Oh,
What happened here? What's the title of this paper? What's the one word?
Elimination.
Elimination. You just eliminated the y from the scenario. What is negative 35 plus 30? You've got half credit already. You've got one of the variables that you were looking for. What's my third step? Substitute to do what? Substitute to find other variable. What do? I go back to either one of these original ones. Doesn't matter which one. I'm going to go with 3x minus 5y equals negative 35. Explain. Explain what I'm going to do. What do I mean by substitute? Take what you have, put it in for x. Right now I'll go with Caitlin's group. Caitlin, somebody in your group, it could be you, just tell me how to complete that. How do I get y by itself now? Add 15. What I'm seeing is that some people are not adding on the other side of the equal sign. If it helps, put the wall in so that you're putting it on both sides of the wall. How do I continue that, Caitlin? Some of you are adding when you should be dividing. This is multiplication, the opposite of multiplication is division. What's a negative divided by a negative? So that's a positive 4. What does that look like as a point? What does this mean on a graph? If I were to graph these, if I graphed it, the lines would intersect at a point, and the point would be negative 5, 4. It means that they're not parallel lines.